No one in Ever After High chooses to be there. That's the first thing the show never says out loud. The students don't apply, they don't audition, they aren't selected based on talent, personality, or desire. They are born into it. Their enrollment is automatic. Their future is predetermined long before they're old enough to understand what any of it means. By the time the story begins, the most important decisions of their lives have already been made, and everyone around them treats that as normal. Ever After High tells its students that their future is already written. Some are born to be heroes, others are born to be villains, and no one ever asks them what they want. This isn't a metaphor in Ever After High, it's policy. From the very first episode, the show establishes a world where identity is not discovered, explored, or negotiated. It is inherited. You are not encouraged to find yourself. You're expected to become someone else. Someone specific, someone familiar, someone who already existed once before. And you are told, this is a privilege. Most people remember Ever After High as Monster High, but fairy tales. A colorful spin-off, a doll cartoon, a gimmick built around nostalgia and recognizable stories. Something light, something harmless. But the show is actually about destiny versus choice, children paying for their parents' crimes, whether evil is inherited or imposed, whether rebellion is allowed only if it's aesthetic. Ever After High doesn't ask whether villains' children can be good. It asks whether they're even allowed to choose, and that distinction changes everything. Destiny is law, not tradition. Ever After High presents destiny as something ancient and sacred, a tradition passed down through generations, meant to preserve order and ensure happy endings. The stories must repeat because without repetition, the world will supposedly fall apart. But when you look closely, destiny in this world doesn't function like tradition. It functions like law. The rules are rigid. The consequences are absolute. Deviation is treated as a threat, not a difference of belief. Students are not simply encouraged to follow their parents' paths. They are pressured, monitored, and morally judged based on how willing they are to comply. This pressure reaches its peak on Legacy Day. Legacy Day and the Storybook of Legends. Legacy Day is framed as a celebration, a rite of passage, a moment of pride where students affirm their place in history by signing the Storybook of Legends, officially agreeing to live out the destiny assigned to them. But strip away the ceremony, and what's left is something far darker. By signing the book, students consent to reenact a specific role, not symbolically but literally. The same conflicts, the same moral positions, the same endings. Heroes must triumph, villains must fall. The story must be preserved exactly as it was. There is no opt-out clause. Refusing to sign isn't treated as a personal choice, it's treated as selfishness, recklessness, a danger to everyone else. This isn't a school, it's a sentencing. Legacy Day is not about growth, it's about containment. It exists to ensure that the next generation does not question the past, only repeats it. And the most important part is this: the consequences are not evenly distributed. Villain kids are punished before they act. One of the clearest patterns in Ever After High is how differently students are treated based on lineage. Villain kids are punished before they act. Hero kids are forgiven even when they do harm. This isn't subtle, it's systemic. Villain descendants are watched more closely, their intentions are constantly questioned, their hesitation is framed as defiance, their doubts are treated as proof of moral weakness. Even their silence is suspicious. They don't need to do anything wrong to be distrusted. Their last name is enough. Hero descendants, on the other hand, are granted automatic legitimacy. Their mistakes are reframed as learning experiences. Their aggression is excused as bravery. Their entitlement is reframed as leadership. They are trusted not because of what they do, but because of who their parents were. This is not morality, it's inheritance. Raven Queen and the crime of refusal. Raven Queen is often described as rebellious, but rebellion isn't what defines her. What defines Raven is refusal. She doesn't want power. She doesn't want chaos. She doesn't want to overthrow the world. She simply does not want to become the evil queen. She does not want to poison people, curse kingdoms, or destroy lives for the sake of preserving a story she didn't write. That should be a neutral position. Instead, it becomes a moral offense. Raven's refusal threatens the system not because it's violent, but because it exposes a flaw. If one person can choose not to fulfill their assigned role, then destiny stops being inevitable. So the world reframes her choice. She's called irresponsible, dangerous, selfish, accused of endangering everyone else by prioritizing her own feelings. Her crime isn't evil, it's non-compliance, and that is the one thing the system cannot tolerate. In contrast, hero-aligned students often act as enforcers of destiny, sometimes aggressively, without facing the same scrutiny. When hero kids pressure others to sign the storybook, it's framed as concern. When they uphold the system, it's framed as responsibility. When they dismiss the fears of villain kids, it's framed as realism. Even when their actions cause harm, they are rarely treated as threats, because the system assumes their righteousness. This creates a disturbing imbalance. Villain kids must constantly prove their goodness, while hero kids are assumed good even when they act cruelly. One group is burdened with guilt they didn't earn. The other is shielded from accountability they haven't earned either. Be who you're assigned. Without dragging Monster High, the contrast between the two shows is telling. Monster High's message is explicit: be yourself. It encourages individuality, difference, and self-definition. Ever After High's message is quieter but far more restrictive. Be who you're assigned. You can express yourself as long as your expression doesn't disrupt the story. You can be unique as long as your uniqueness fits inside the role you were born into. You can rebel as long as your rebellion is cosmetic. The moment rebellion becomes structural, the moment it questions destiny itself, it becomes unacceptable. Rebellion, but only if it's aesthetic. Ever After High allows surface-level resistance. Different outfits, different opinions, moments of doubt, emotional conflict. But it draws a hard line at refusal. This mirrors real-world systems disturbingly well. Many systems allow symbolic dissent because it poses no real threat. Self-expression is tolerated as long as it doesn't challenge power. Ever After High celebrates individuality until individuality demands freedom. At its core, Ever After High is about generational trauma. The children inherit not only stories, but also expectations, punishments, and unresolved moral judgments. Villain descendants inherit shame and suspicion. Hero descendants inherit pressure and entitlement. Neither group is free. Villain kids are expected to atone for crimes they didn't commit. Hero kids are expected to live up to legends that deny them complexity. Both are trapped in narratives they didn't consent to. The difference is that one cage is decorated. The world of Ever After High is built on two forces: nepotism, which protects hero lineages; stigma, which punishes villain lineages. Hero children benefit from assumed virtue. Villain children suffer from assumed corruption. This is not destiny. It's bias disguised as tradition. And because it's framed as the way things must be, it rarely gets challenged directly. Why kids' media enforces destiny? Children's media often relies on destiny because it simplifies morality. It creates clean narratives with clear winners and losers. It reassures audiences that the world is ordered, predictable, and fair. But Ever After High accidentally exposes the cost of that reassurance. Destiny removes responsibility from systems and places it on individuals. If someone suffers, it's not because the structure is unjust. It's because they failed to accept their role. That's a powerful lesson to teach children, and not necessarily a healthy one. Ever After High wasn't asking if the next generation could be better. It was asking if they'd ever be forgiven for being born. That question lingers beneath every episode. Not whether villain kids can change, not whether destiny can evolve, but whether the world would ever allow certain people to exist without punishment. And that's why Ever After High still resonates, not as a fairy tale, but as a quiet, unsettling reflection of how societies decide who deserves freedom, who deserves grace, and who is expected to carry guilt that was never theirs to begin with.